Karoline Leavitt is rapidly turning into the mainstream media's biggest headache. Despite being relatively new to the position, she's already proven herself to be a powerhouse in her role as President Trump's press secretary. Armed with a razor-sharp command of the facts, unshakable self-assurance, and a calm, composed demeanor, she has delivered some of the most relentless and hard-hitting responses the press corps has ever seen. Time and again, she dismantles their narratives effortlessly, leaving seasoned reporters visibly rattled and scrambling to regain control of the conversation. In today's segment, we're breaking down a few of her most unforgettable confrontations, moments so striking and impactful that even the most outspoken members of the media were left stunned into silence. These are the kinds of exchanges that are impossible to ignore and guaranteed to make headlines. So don't go anywhere. You're going to want to witness every second of this. And as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel and tap that notification bell so you never miss an update on powerful moments like these.
I will say it's very easy to speak truth from this podium when you have a president who is implementing policies that are wildly popular with the American people, and that's exactly what this administration is doing. It's correcting the lies and the wrongs of the past 4 years, many of the lies that have been told to your faces in this very briefing room. I will not do that. But since you brought up Truth Seek, I would like to point out, while I vowed to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there is misinformation about this.
Just 10 minutes into her very first press briefing at the White House, it became crystal clear. Karoline Leavitt wasn't stepping into that room to play nice. At just 27 years old, she's already carved out a place in history as the youngest person to ever serve as press secretary under President Trump. She earned that role not by chance, but by proving herself as a standout communicator throughout his third presidential campaign, winning praise for her clarity, command, and on-camera presence. Karolines Background adds even more weight to her credibility. She studied communications and political science at St. Anselm College, a Catholic institution located in her home state of New Hampshire. After earning her degree, she dove straight into the political world, honing her craft as assistant press secretary under Kayleigh McEnany. There, she learned the ropes of navigating high-pressure media environments and played a key role in confronting the blatant biases of the legacy press head-on. But Karoline's drive doesn't stop there. In 2022, she stepped into the political spotlight herself, launching a bold campaign for Congress. She not only secured the Republican nomination by defeating a so-called rhino opponent, but also went head-to-head with a well-established Democratic incumbent. Although she narrowly lost that race, her performance sent a strong message. Karoline Leavitt is a rising force in American politics, and she's just getting started.
As we're dealing with anti-DEI, anti-woke efforts, we understand this administration is thinking about celebrating Black History Month. Have you got any word on that? Anything that you can offer to us?
As far as I know, this White House certainly still intends to celebrate, and we will continue to celebrate American history and the contributions that all Americans, regardless of race, religion, or creed, have made to our great country, and America is back.
By the time Karoline had stepped up for her third press briefing, she had already weathered 2 intense rounds of questioning, each dominated by an almost obsessive focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI programs, as though no other issue facing the country mattered. During one particularly striking exchange, her response immediately brought to mind a powerful critique once voiced by Morgan Freeman. He famously declared, "Black History Month is an insult. You're going to relegate my history to a month?" Freeman has long championed the idea that Black history is, in fact, American history, an enduring and vital truth that continues to resonate deeply in today's social discourse. Karoline appeared to channel that same sentiment in her response, confidently pushing back against the tired and performative narratives often championed by the progressive left. It was refreshing, and frankly rare, to see a press secretary so unapologetically committed to a perspective that challenges the status quo. And despite the media's relentless attempts to corner her with leading questions and trap her in so-called gotcha moments, Karoline remained composed and unshaken. Her confidence never wavered, and her ability to handle the high-pressure spotlight with such calm authority only further proves that she's more than equipped to take on whatever the media throws her way.
The president has made it very clear that this is a common sense solution to solving some of the problems that we have seen at the Federal Aviation Administration and also when it comes to many of the federal agencies across our government. People should not be hired based on their disabilities, based on their skin color, their gender, their race. None of that matters. What matters to this president and this administration is how well you can do your job, and the American people agree with that sentiment. So it's about competence, skill, and merit. And so the president is focused on ensuring that the most competent individuals, the best and the brightest in this country, are in positions in this federal government, especially when it comes to public safety.
Now, I'm not about to wade into conspiracy theories about the recent airplane incidents the way someone like Philip DeFranco might, but let's be honest, what Karoline said in response to this topic was nothing short of pure, practical, common sense. Still, for much of the woke media, even basic logic seems to be a bridge too far. Rather than promoting the values of personal accountability and encouraging individuals, regardless of ability status, to take control of their own futures, many in the press remain fixated on a narrative of perpetual victimhood. Karoline's remarks cut through that noise with clarity and conviction. Her message was simple but powerful. If someone is genuinely qualified for a position, then they should absolutely be given a fair opportunity to prove themselves. She even referenced a compelling real-world example, Stephen Hawking. Despite his profound physical limitations, Hawking made revolutionary contributions to the field of theoretical physics and solidified his place among the greatest intellectuals in modern history. But the media wouldn't let it go. Reporters kept circling back to the same line of questioning, clearly hoping to trip her up or spark controversy. Eventually, Karoline had enough. She decided it was time to shut down the distractions, speak truth without apology, and put an end to the endless speculation once and for all.
That's unacceptable, and I think just to put a fine point on this, because this is the third or fourth question I've answered on this subject, when you are flying on an airplane with your loved ones, which every one of us in this room has, do you pray that your plane lands safely and gets you to your destination, or do you pray that the pilot has a certain skin color? I think we all know the answer to that question, and as President Trump said yesterday, it's common sense.
Amen to that. What makes the situation even more ironic is that Joy Behar actually had the audacity to suggest that Karoline only secured her role because she's, quote, a 10 in Trump's book. Honestly, I'd echo the sentiment, but not for the reasons Joy intended. Some critics might try to spin that into a sexist remark, but let's be real. It's not sexism, it's envy. The reality is, Joy simply can't compete with Karoline's intelligence, precision, and natural command of the spotlight, no matter how many years she's spent in front of a camera. And yes, let's not pretend otherwise. Karoline is strikingly beautiful, but that's just one part of the package. What truly sets her apart is her ability to articulate complex ideas with clarity, confidence, and calm under pressure, qualities that Joy Behar consistently fails to demonstrate. It's almost painful to watch Joy struggle to string together a coherent sentence without contradicting herself mid-thought. Karoline brought that same effortless confidence to her appearance on Good Morning America, where she expertly dismantled a reporter's heavily biased and loaded question within seconds. She didn't just deflect the attack, she turned it around with poise, composure, and a razor-sharp response that reminded everyone watching exactly why she's so effective in her role.
Look, we want people to return to work. We have beautiful federal office buildings here in Washington, D.C. that American taxpayers are paying for. They should be used. That's what the American people deserve.
But is there any concern that we risk losing people with years of experience like doctors and let's say scientists?
Well, most doctors who work in actual hospitals and medical institutions have to show up to the office. We know that employees are more productive and more efficient when they are working in an in-office environment, and that's what this administration expects, and I think that's what American taxpayers expect. Don't forget, it's the American people who are funding this government, and they deserve people who are actually showing up to work on their behalf.
Watching any clip of Karoline Leavitt in action feels like witnessing a rapid-fire sequence of truth bombs, each one landing with precision and purpose. Her delivery is sharp, her arguments are airtight, and the impact of her words extends far beyond the walls of the White House briefing room. It's not just the press corps that's feeling the heat. Her presence is making waves across the entire political landscape. As she wrapped up her very first press briefing, Karoline made sure to seize the moment. With unflinching confidence, she delivered a few strategically placed verbal jabs at President Joe Biden, and the energy in the room instantly shifted. It wasn't just a closing statement, it was a bold declaration of exactly who she is and what she represents. To say it was electrifying would be an understatement. It was the kind of moment that left viewers wide-eyed and fired up.
Good question, April. So look, the president, as you know, is incredibly accessible. First day here, he wanted all of you in the Oval Office. You got a 60-minute press conference with the leader of the free world while he was simultaneously signing executive orders. I may add that's pretty impressive. I don't think the previous office holder would be able to pull such a thing off. So look, the president is the best spokesperson that this White House has, and I can assure you that you will be hearing from both him and me as much as possible.
Shots fired, and let's be honest, it's only been a matter of days since President Trump officially returned to office, yet it already feels like we've lived through a whirlwind of events compressed into a single breath. The speed, the intensity, the nonstop momentum, it's almost surreal. Craig Shirley, a veteran political consultant who once advised President George H.W. Bush, captured the moment perfectly when he remarked, "Politics, motion, and Donald Trump is a study in motion." He described it as a constant whirlwind of energy and transformation, and right at the center of it all is Karoline Leavitt, standing firm with pinpoint focus and undeniable fire. Now, I'd love to hear what you think about everything that's unfolding. So let's keep the discussion going in the comments section. Drop your thoughts, your questions, and your hot takes. I'm genuinely excited to read every one of them. And if you've got friends or family who value independent thought and unfiltered, honest reporting, don't hesitate to share this video with them. Help us grow a community that stands for truth, transparency, and clarity in the middle of today's chaotic media storm. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one!